All right, everyone, it's time to invoke that famous Ronald Reagan quote because the other day, Joe Biden, Beijing Biden, was literally telling people, oh, don't worry, help's on the way. The incoming Biden administration that, may or may not actually happen, asterisk presidency, I would label it, it will help people. Don't worry, that we'll fix the economy. We'll fix all your problems. Big Daddy government will help you. Big Daddy government doesn't help goddamn anybody. Check throughout U.S. history. Does the expansion of government uplift people, or is it primarily used to abuse them? It's just like the argument over censorship. Censorship is always wrapped up in a nice little package with a cute little bow that says, protect kids from obscene content, protect yourself from extremists, silence the fanatics, the potentially violent, make sure that we have decency in programming. That's always how they sell it, right? Name an instance throughout history. I love asking people this. Name a single instance, just one, from anywhere in the world, any time period, where censorship of any meaningful usage was actually used for benevolent purposes and wasn't a pile of fucking steaming horseshit. You're not going to find one. The same is true of government expansionism. When governments expand and appropriate more wealth, they always say, well, we're going to give this to the poor. We're going to give it to the sick. We're going to help the orphans and widows. We're going to be like Jesus Christ or some saintly person. Instead, like fucking Ebenezer Scrooge, they use it on pet projects that go nowhere, bridges to nowhere, shovel-ready, bailouts for their corporate buddies. They throw the money at war, or it disappears. The Pentagon loses hundreds of billions of dollars on a regular basis. Nobody can ever determine where the fuck it went. What was it spent on? Was it cocaine? Human trafficking, illicit nuclear weapons being funneled to some vaguely allied group in the Middle East that wants to destroy Soviets? Who knows? We never know where it goes, but we know that it's been appropriated. Oh yeah, and always in the budget, it looks like it went to the poor orphans. The only time that Uncle Sam spends money on orphans is when it's bombing them with drone strikes. So you'll be goddamn excusing me if I look at Beijing Biden and I see his suggestion to help people. We're going to uplift the poor. We're going to fix the economy. No, you're not. It's bullshit. You want to fix the economy? Get government out of it as much as possible. That's the whole point. Governments constantly grow over time. Bureaucracies tend to grow, and whenever they grow, they appropriate more resources, become less efficient usually, and screw people over. The regulatory burden mounts over and over. To his benefit, Trump is one of the few U.S. leaders who ever has actually reduced the scope of government, even in the business sense. And in the day-to-day sense, as far as the legalistic system goes at large, he's just basically frozen it for a number of years. Why do you think that things were going on ahead and we hit record unemployment in the country? Here in the Netherlands, great example. Some parts of the Netherlands, up until recently, were bureaucratically strangulated. The government embarked upon a campaign to compact municipal offices and services. Famously, Franeker, which is a place we were near in Friesland, I think as the seat of that particular province or whatever you'd call it, I believe has been merged with multiple other local offices. Like the city services that they have got merged in order to reduce the number of bureaucrats. The Netherlands is exploding with growth right now. You wouldn't fucking believe it. There's more construction going on within a 3-block radius of me than I've seen anywhere in the U.S. Anywhere. Tampa, major city. Rutland, Burlington. I lived in the Rio Grande Valley, one of the boom areas of southern Texas. It is exploding with growth. All of the growth in McAllen and Hidalgo and Port Isabel and Weslaco and all these places combined couldn't hold a candle just to Demon. One small metropolitan outer component of the Amsterdam area. That's the result of a reduction in bureaucracy and a pro-business model. That's how you help people. That's what creates jobs. The jobs create wealth. If you tax that wealth, you then have money potentially to give to the poor, but you got to have growth going on to do that. The growth has to at least keep pace with the growth of the population at the very least. That's the least you can do. Have barely matched that over a few fiscal quarters for the last decade. There's a reason for that. The government keeps fucking growing, wasting money on stupid shit that doesn't bring a return. When Beijing Biden says, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back to the exact same economic principles that were used by Barack Obama. Barack Obama claimed that 7-8% unemployment was systemically now embedded in the U.S. Economy and would never be something we would get away from. He was proven wrong. Trump proved Think what you will about his foreign policy, about his attitude, about his attacks on democracy and his skin color, and all this stupid shit that the tabloids sell. You cannot deny that Donald Trump fundamentally erased the false reality that was spun by Obama for 8 years. Unemployment, GDP, wage growth, the need for hyper-regulation, all of these things were completely upended. Joe Biden wants to return the country fundamentally to the same economic principles that we labored under both Bush and Obama. Bush wasn't a conservative. He basically did the same thing Obama did. Except he never threw the bailouts to big corporations. He actually stimulated the economy by giving everyone a check. Didn't work, but yeah, in principle it was okay. By the way, it's very funny when people say, when the liberals say, well, we're going to have like UBI and stuff like that, you're basically saying that you want to take the Bush stimulus and amp it up and make it sort of a monthly or quarterly thing. You're basically using Bush economic principles, but you seem to think that strings-attached money pumped into a bunch of government services is going to be more efficient than just handing people a check. Just fucking hand them a check, dude. Just give people a direct stimulus. I'm sure that it'll be weighted and scaled according to your economic standing, and probably affirmative action will creep in and all of this other bullshit, and so it'll be completely goddamn meaningless. When I see that every other Democrat's like, whoa, you need to go to black and brown owned businesses more often, you know, the most racist fucking slogan that they've ever developed since the Ku Klux Klan era, late 1800s or something, black and brown people, way to smush people together from totally different ethnic backgrounds. When they sit there harping and ranting about this stuff and saying to fund the police and we need to throw trillions of dollars at eliminating transatlantic flight and cow farts and stupid shit like this, it sort of shows you where the Democratic Party's going, off a cliff into hell. It's basically, it was interesting. By the way, and this is no goddamn joke, I can't remember, I think it was Burger King that did this. They've decided to start feeding lemongrass to their cows to make them burp and fart less. Talk about private industry accomplishing something that was spoken of as needing to be a multi-trillion-dollar government project. AOC's New Green Deal in the draft that was erroneously put out there for A/B testing, you remember that? And it talked about wanting to eliminate cow farts because it was endangering the environment through climate change. Because, you know, cows tend to be gassy and it produces a lot of methane and greenhouse gas and so forth. And then they decided that they could reduce that by a third just by putting some lemongrass in the cow feed. I bet the government would have spent $1 trillion and never figured out that that was possible. I don't know how helpful it'll be, but fundamentally it's working in the right direction. Yeah, private solar firms do a lot better than the ones that take public money. There's a reason for that. Government's not your friend. It never will be. All the government aid in the world when I was poor for the first fucking 28 years of my life never uplifted my family. Not one. It stood in the goddamn way. That's what happens with government. It stands in your way. It's not what you think of as stairs is actually a wall because they always make the stair too fucking high to climb. That's the problem. They don't give a shit about the poor. These people are a bunch of rich bitches anyway. Beijing Biden's, I came from Scranton, I came from the working class shtick doesn't mean jack. If you came from the lower class, fucking act like it and actually do something to uplift people out of poverty. Let them work. Make sure they have jobs. Get government out of the business of business. It doesn't belong there. That's the whole point. That's about all. Peace out.